we could fly.
Welcome to this new season of the Have a Cup of Johanny podcast. So I want to title this new season that I'm embarking on with I'm growing. So this is going to be the season of growth. And that's what I'm going to share with you throughout the season. So I thank you for coming over here and sitting with me. And I hope you enjoy. Hello, everyone. So on this fantastic episode, I just need to warn folks that you may be hearing my older puppy, my fur baby, John, snoring because currently he's in the room with me and he is taking one of his many naps that he will be taking today. And dang it, he deserves it. John is 12 years old and he deserves all the naps. But here's the situation. So coming into the new year, something that I do, so every January, this is something that I do on a regular, and that is I redo or modify my budget and also change subscriptions as well, modify, cancel, put on pause or whatnot. That is usually how I start the new year's. This year, because I am moving, I am doing it in December as opposed to January. But usually, for the most part, this is a New Year's while I'm on New Year's vacation, New Year's leave kind of thing that I do. And that has been something that I have learned a lot from. So let me give you a little background as to why I needed to do this. So for the longest, I was a single mom. For the longest, I want to say 17 years of the 22 years that I have in the military. It was just me, my son, and I against the world with one paycheck. So I had to depend on that paycheck for my things, his things, and the things that we wanted to do together for fun. So I've gotten fairly good. I'm not going to say really good because I do have my moments where I want to splurge on myself, and I'll let you know what are some of the things that I splurge on. But nevertheless, the situation is that it's the beginning of the year, and I'm rehashing my budget and re-looking at my subscriptions just to make sure that it is where I need it to be, where I want it to be to meet my goals. So in essence, that's the reason why I do that. And that is because I have some financial goals I want to achieve. I want to do some things with the money that I earn. I'm not looking into how can I earn more. I'm looking into how can I do more with the money that I already have. Okay. So I follow a person that is called the minority mindset, or just take the and just leave minority mindset. And I found this person on Instagram. And this is a person that my husband was like, wow, they're really good. My husband is more into YouTube. I'm more into TikTok and Instagram. So I follow him on Instagram. But my husband is constantly looking at the minority mindsets videos on YouTube. And both him and I are getting great feedback. Me, I mostly get it through my husband that watches the video. I look at the quick snippets on the Instagram. So here we are thinking of the goals that we want to reach together, and myself thinking of the financial goals that I want to reach by myself individually, as also for the business that I'm running. And one of the quotes that he has on his Instagram that really resonated with me, that just kind of, I sat with it for a while, and it really put a lot of things into perspective when it comes to finances. And that was, before you spend your money on something, think about if it's actually worth the time it took you to afford it. The answer is most likely no. That to me sounds like a quote of how we used to shop before, as opposed to having this immediate gratification to having to wait. And then once you wait, seeing if you still want it or it's still worth it. And let me give you an example. So, like I said before, I'm in the military, so I move a lot. Currently, I'm in the process of moving. By the time you would listen to this episode, I would have been on the other side already moved and all of that. But I understand this quote right here, even way before I saw that quote, because I've experienced something similar to it. And that is, oftentimes when I move, I live off of boxes. I live off of suitcase. My stuff is in boxes for a good amount of time. And some of that time, the things that are in my suitcase was everything that I needed to live my life. And then when I open up boxes, it's like receiving presents because I forgot that I had those things. And it's like it's extra. It's extra. I mean, it's awesome to have, but it's extra because I had lived just fine for like that month and a half or whatnot without any of these things. And I was doing just fine. It wasn't like survival of the fittest or anything. I was just doing just fine. And that's what that quote, when I read it, it reminded me of all those times where I had that epiphany while moving. Now, after reading this quote, what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch that mindset into saving it because it's true. It's like my husband that has asked me a fairly amount of time, like, hey, when are you going to get a new car? You know what my car brand is? Is paid off 99. That is my brand. That is the brand of my car, right? It is paid off. Damn it, it is paid off. It is paid off and it is serviceable and it is doing just fine. Nothing in that car is misfiring. It's fine. The airbags are still working. They're still there, So I look at it as if it's still working, why change it? Why change it? There's like no reason behind it. But I know people have different preferences. But that's the example that comes to mind because I think eventually my mind will change and I know eventually this is not my 2023 goal, but this is me looking further out. I may put some money into saving for a car, not to pay it off, mind you, but to have that stash in there that I can pay it off steadily. I come from a very poor upbringing. So for me, savings brings me peace. And that is something that I have put into my financial goals. And that is to have that 10,000 hard cash readily available in the savings for emergencies. And when I say for emergencies, let me explain. So for me, I'm in a Latinx, Latino household. So for me, I'm very family centric. So emergencies is not just for my immediate self and immediate family. It can be that one of my family members is in dire need and that they need something and I can help them out through financial means. It brings me peace. I'm able to sleep at night because I know that I can care for my immediate needs, my nuclear family needs, as well as any other extended family that may need something. So, saying that, that's one of our goals. And I took out my handy dandy notebook. So, if you listen to a previous episode of mine of how I organize my chaotic life in a notebook, you would know this is me pulling out my notebook that I have categories for everything. So, one of the categories that I added in my notebook is this. Let me turn the pages so that way I can let y'all know. And that is financial goals for the year 2023. And in here, my husband and I did this together. What I essentially did is put the goals that I want to have. And for me, that is savings. I want to have a savings goal, a savings account, just set aside that money there. And I want to have a business account, which I already have, and I'll be putting money directly there. And then I want to have a home improvement account. So this is an account that I need to open. And this is going to be a share account where both my husband and I, we put money into it. And that is to improve on the home that we own here in El Paso. And now this leads me to the things that I splurge on. So if you listen to me not too long ago here, right, about delayed gratification and thinking about whether it's worth it to spend that time saving for something, whether that something is worth it, you waiting that time. And for me, these are categories that are worth it. So when it comes to home improvement, that is something that I told my husband. I was like, this is our forever home. This is where we're going to grow old. This is where I want to be rocking in some chair, looking at the neighbors and saying hi to the trick or treaters as they go by, uh, petting my fur babies and growing my garden. This is the place. So I'm okay with sacrificing a part of my paycheck. I'm okay with that delayed gratification of waiting so I can have a Zen place, a home that feels welcoming to me and to my husband and to our kids. So I'm all about it. And when it comes to comfort, when it comes to the home, I'm like, yes, let's go. Once again, if you heard me talk about this, we don't usually go like the cheapest route when it comes to buying things. We don't tend to go towards the higher end either because I've noticed, and this is something that I picked up from one of my finance books because my bachelor's is in business. And that is something that I learned from one of the classes that I took for the bachelor's. And that is like oftentimes the price when it comes to the larger price tag item is it relies more on the brand rather than the quality of the product. Usually the above average price tag is has the same quality as the high end price tag. It just doesn't have that branding. It just doesn't have that well known brand status. Knowing that, that's why usually I told my husband about this. I've shared with him this. So usually when we go into these home improvement stores, we tend to go towards that avenue of approach. So that way we are ensuring that our money goes a long way. Because once again, I'm of the mindset of what can I do? How can I stretch the dollar? Oh, and my husband is so good at stretching a dollar. I love him for it. Ooh, 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 he is so good. So that's why I listened to him when he told me, hey, you got to follow this minority mindset guy. I was like, I was in there like really fast. I was in there like swimwear in that account following this dude. But yeah, so these are the three categories. And let's go into my other category, which is business account. For sure, that is something that I'm okay having delayed gratification because this is my plan. This is my plan for when I retire. This is, I figured out one of the things that I find meaning on, one of the things that gives me purpose, a sense of purpose in this life is being able to tell and share a story. And the best way that I know how to do that is by writing books, writing novellas, writing short stories. That's my cat. So we also have the cat here, Lento. So he wants to know what he can knock off of one of my desks here. Okay. So yeah, so the business account. So that is something that I am okay with having delayed gratification and little by little putting money into that account. So that way that which is saved there can pay for the first books that I'm publishing because I need book cover artist money, I need editor money, I need marketing money for these books. So I need to save for that because right now the business is not making money. On the other hand, that account is going to be there as well. So that way, when I do start making a profit on those books, novellas, short stories, and all of that, it will go there. And I have it separated from my personal as well. That's something that I wanted to do. So, yes, are you kidding me? That I will delayed gratify those three categories. And I already explained the one about the savings. It's just coming from that background, just having a savings has always made me feel at peace. That's just how it is for me. So for my mental health, I need to have that money there. So yeah, so that is what we decided to do is have those three categories. The last category we're gonna share, and well, in the first one because that's savings for both of us. So my husband puts money in there, but mostly I put more in there because I get paid more. So that's probably something that I should talk about here. We still learning our roles when it comes to that because we are completely switched. I tell you, it was awkward at the beginning, very awkward. Right now, we're in the just fine phase. I can't wait to get better. So, after talking about it with my husband and agreeing on these categories and these goals that we have, I feel like we're prepared now. We're prepared to embark in the year 2023. We are prepared to handle our financial responsibilities, and we are prepared for emergencies because now we have a plan. Right now we have a plan. And this is something else that I'm going to continue to work on while I was working on this with my husband. I pointed out something that I know I have a shortcoming on, and that is subscriptions. Let's talk about subscriptions because this is my resolution to come when it comes to this, to financial management, for the fam, for personal means, for my business, and budgeting. I really need to get a handle on the subscriptions and the way that will work for me, because self-awareness is key here, is to do it more than once a year. So I opened up the episode saying that this is something that I do once a year. But right now, it's getting a little out of hand. So I need to do a mid-year check as well. So my resolution is going to be, I don't forget my birthday. I'm a Leo. I don't forget that. So my resolution will be not just to do a subscription scrub like I usually do on January, but to do one in August as well. And it works out perfectly because that's like mid-year, right? Well, a little bit more mid-year, but dang it, I'm a Leo. It's mid-year, okay? Because it's my birthday. So I'm going to check my subscriptions once again there just to double tap, because I know my willpower when I see something that I want to get, and I'm often on my phone, on social media. That's something that I need to work on. Oh, we're going to do an episode about that. I need to check. And I know I'm better at checking than stopping myself in that moment. So I know that if I put another check in place, I will be able to cancel and pause those that I don't use. Now, I'm not completely lacking any willpower, because I have caught myself. I have getting better on the subscription, asking that same question just in a different format that I just gave to y'all about the minority mindset. And that is this worth it? Me getting this app for so many dollars a month or a week, is it worth it? I'm like, or am I just going to use it this one time and then not use it at all? So I've gotten better. I've noticed that about myself. I still want to implement the twice a year as opposed to once a year, just because my priority right now lies on reaching my financial goals that we just discussed, as opposed to me having these fancy apps so I can do like better graphics on TikTok and Instagram, or photo editing apps for the same purposes and stuff like that. I understand that now, that my priority is more to save for those goals, for those projects. So that way in the future, I am set. Future Johanny is set. That's something that I learned as well. Think about your future self. Will your future self be happy with what your present self is doing? So I got to remind myself sometimes of that. I'm like, would Johanny like being without this money later on when she's trying to pay an editor for one of the books that she wants to publish? Maybe not. So that's something that I've been doing. Nevertheless, I'm going to do a twice a year check. So that way I can make sure that when Johanny, with very little willpower, comes around, she hasn't put us in a bind here that can hurt future Johanny later on. My resolution for me, my husband, and our family is to have a plan on a yearly basis, recheck our budget, and for me, recheck my subscriptions twice a year just to make sure that the money that I have is going places. It's working for me. I'm not working for that money. That money is working for me, dang it, because I earned it already. So, boom. And before I forget, I'll be remiss if I didn't talk about this resource that has helped me and my husband with our personal finances. And this is an audiobook, and it's also in a book format that we listen to on a trip. And I love it when we listen to things like this on the trip because it makes us better together. That book is Get Good with Money with Tiffany Alice, aka the Budgetista. She's amazing. So if you're interested, give it a try. I highly recommend this book. So folks, I hope you learned something from this. I know I've been learning a lot talking to y'all. I'm learning that I don't know everything and that there may be some holes in my learning that I may need to plug up. I'm also very proud of myself of the things that I've learned without gloating, but I hope y'all are learning something too, or I hope y'all are relating at the very least to some of the things here. Nevertheless, this is my time to thank you. And thank you for sitting here with me or driving with me or whatever it is that you're doing, but listening to this podcast. You could have listened to a lot of others, but you chose to listen to this one. And for that, I am so grateful. I will see you next time.
Oh, we could fly.
Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to follow and subscribe to the show. See you on the next episode. Bye.
Oh, we could fly.